Man, I am getting chubby.
Well, you said that right when we went live. I am getting, I'm getting old. I'm getting salty.
Yeah, me, old, chubby, all of the above. Yeah.
You still have like a surfer's head and face though, and I have like more of a sea captain.
Oh, I don't know, man. Sea captain's so distinguished when you move into that phase. Like aging surfer, I don't know. It's also been raining in LA for the last few days, so
Yeah.
I've barely moved. I've completely given up the will to like dress and clean myself.
You
So yeah.
don't you grew up in Kentucky, you would think you would establish some resilience around extreme weather and so on, but I guess when you live in LA so long as it, and I'm making fun of you, and I'm also being somewhat serious, does it make you soft around the issue of weather? So when there's just a little bit, you can't go out, you're not going to, obviously, I mean, it's pretty bad though, right?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it's rain. It's just, rain in a place that doesn't do well with rain. But yeah, no, it's embarrassing when I go home to Kentucky now. It's like dips below 60 and I'm freezing. And yeah, they make fun of me a lot for being soft, but that's not really a new development. That's been around for a while.
I am happy to see you. I just watched your
Cool,
latest
man.
with your partner, Adam Parkamenko, over at The Alt Media. And I guess the best place to subscribe is at Adam Parkamenko Show on YouTube to
Yeah, or
watch.
just go to thealtmedia.com, all
Got
one
it.
word. Yeah.
Okay, go to thealtmedia.com. I should have known that, but I just watched it. It's really good. It's really interesting watching you guys talk. I like Adam. He's really smart. I don't know him at all. And I found myself while watching it feeling envy for the relationship that he had with you. And I wondered,
It's nice.
how did you guys, because I was jealous. I was like, I would like to be Sam's partner and friend
You are
more.
my friend.
And yeah, yeah, but it was bringing me to a question: how did you guys meet? How well do you guys know each other doing this? Because it's very good work that you guys do every day.
Man, that's so nice of you. Thank you. First of all, don't feel jealous. There's plenty of Sam to go around, and
Well,
I do consider you a dear friend. You've been so kind from the very beginning, just such a huge supporter of what we do. So it's kind of a funny story. Adam and I were working on a super PAC. I had just left journalism and was dipping my toe into the consulting waters, trying to help some Democrats win elections. And Adam and I met working on a super PAC. It was all centrist, and they were all going to rebrand the Democratic Party. And while they'd be doing these conference calls, Adam and I were on a side chat, just like, who the fuck are these people?
huh,
Like, why are these people? Why do they sound like Republicans? And finally, Adam was just like, look, dude, let's do our own thing. You're a hell of a writer. Let's, you write something, and I'll find a way to make it grow. And so we started our newsletter for just like six people to try and like, make ourselves laugh and like basically cope through the first Trump administration. And it just kept growing. And I think the last time I heard we were over 430,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely fucking bonkers to me. But yeah, Adam is it's always tough to tell in this line of work who are the people that really believe the shit they're saying and who are the people that just are really good at acting like it and then
yeah,
collect a
yeah,
paycheck.
yeah,
I think the thing that drew me to Adam from the beginning was he walks the walk. He didn't just talk the talk. Like, I don't know if you remember
yeah.
when Trump came back from Helsinki in the first term after just completely embarrassing our nation by kissing Putin's ass on a world stage. Adam came up with, along with Philippe Reins, Adam came up with what was called the Kremlin Annex, which was basically just a nonstop protest out in front of the White House for months. They did everything. They had a mariachi band, just anything that would draw attention to Trump's performance in Helsinki. And I just really admired that kind of. That kind of 3D activism, that kind of get in the streets and shake shit up. And I learned working with him that that's kind of where he is. He's a street fighter first, and not really a C-suite kind of guy. And which is good because I've never really gotten along very well with the C Street kind of guys. So yeah, man, Adam's become. We've been doing this for almost 7 years now. We're basically like an old married couple at this point. We fight like every day. Like I threaten to leave with the kids at least once a week, and but yeah, we make it work.
The reason why I admire your work and other people's work is I have. I think I've created a an idea in my mind as to who I give credibility and respect to.
Mhm.
And I wonder how you do it. How do you know who to trust and respect in media, in journalism, to a certain extent in life too, but certainly when we're increasingly going to be confused by AI, and we're also siloed, and it's you're not hearing certain things. How do you know where to find the best kind of journalism, or is objective journalism still a thing? My ingredients are kind of, and what I think is the reason why I like you. I think it starts with a moral clarity. Then you sprinkle in intelligence, which I would argue is gained through experience, really. So where did you work? What did you do? Who do you know? How did you grow up? What's your life like? And then just adding kind of a credibility with a final sprinkle of who pays this guy? Who pays this woman? Like
Yeah.
what's their incentive structure here? And it's like you on one side, and others that I would include in Earth One, and then like someone like Megyn Kelly
Mm.
and JD Vance and Marco Rubio and other people who are willing to just be complete hollow barrels to make a living, to gain power, and so on. What's your formula?
Yeah, this is a question I get a lot. Like, how do you know who to believe, who not to believe? And I don't have a great answer because the reason I know who to believe and who not to believe is because I worked with them. I was around, at least the older folks. I was around for a long time. I was a White House correspondent for 4 years. So, like, it's not news to me that Jake Tapper is a fucking fraud who's full of shit. Like, I've known that for a very long time. Um, I think the other thing that I would put on that list is authenticity. Who's a real person? One way to tell if somebody's authentic is they're not perfect. They've made mistakes and they cop to them. That's the other thing I tell people is like if you're trying to figure out if a news organization's worth a shit or not, look at how they handle their mistakes.
Yeah,
Because everybody makes them. Do they own up to them or do they sue until Dominion makes them fork over $1 billion?
right.
I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like that's a great way to look for honesty. It's a great way to look for do they believe in accountability for themselves? Because if they don't, they probably don't believe in accountability for politicians or rich assholes.
And I think
Um,
it's all fair and should be applied to any corporate media, many of which you
no
worked with and
question.
knew. But as we get older, and as even today, we're thinking about giving our money to this Substacker or Patreoner or watching this YouTuber or whatever, increasingly they're younger. We don't have experience with them. Finding the where their credibility lies is sometimes difficult, which is why I try to apply the formula. And somebody mentioned in the live chat, and of course, humor too, which is why I love you. And moral clarity matters. But then in the chat, my friend Kim asks, wait a second, where is Sam's line on pedophilia? So do you think a 14-year-old, it's not as
Yeah,
bad if it's a 14-year-old. It's not like it's an 8-year-old. It's
yeah.
not
My
like
my line is
great.
my line
Yes.
is 5 to 10 years older than Megyn Kelly's. I mean, what the fuck, man? Like, I
Do you
didn't.
think you need
You know,
to, somebody wrote, you have to separate the pedophile from the pedophilia. And I
if,
think that's
I,
really,
I don't think that's true. I
you
think you
know,
keep those things lumped together at all times. Yeah, and you do that in a cell somewhere. My God, man. I mean, I knew these fucking people were crazy. Like, hey, it wasn't really an attack on the Capitol. It was a tour visit. But,
yeah.
I didn't anticipate we're getting into, hey, 15 years old is fair. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with these people, man? Like, you mentioned the younger generation, and that is where I have trouble because I don't know them as well. And so I guess then what I'm looking for is their voice. How do they write? How do they talk? Does it seem like they believe the shit they're saying, or does it seem like they're looking for a shortcut to the fame and fortune of being in politics these days? Olivia Nuzzi, so
Right.
perfect example of somebody who I think nobody did her any favors by putting her to work in this industry in her early 20s and telling her how great she was and how infallible she was. She had her ass kissed by the top of the industry for a long time,
Yeah.
and her fall was almost inevitable. Now,
Mm.
was it inevitable that it would be this fucking gross and hard to understand? Probably not. But she's not the first fucking person to fall for brainworm guy. But no, it's
Sorry. Joining us now, Olivia Nuzzi. Olivia, welcome. Olivia,
Olivia. It's great to see you. How the fuck are you affording a house in Malibu?
Olivia. Oh, I was looking the wrong way. Shit.
Yeah, she run back to Malibu. Yeah, that's
Gross. Great point,
no.
though. A great example. Several great examples that you're talking about. Well, I want to, I always want to talk about and update this conversation with you and others. Who do you trust? Who do you like? Who are some of the sources that you really rely on? I mean, for me, again, I also love expertise. I love a niche. I love someone that knows about public lands or someone that knows about energy or education, and they have a lot of credibility in that lane. Again, also a moral clarity and live on Earth One, where we usually report from. So let's get into some of the latest things. I got to ask you, just real easy, nice, easy question up front. Let's ask, what do you think of the remaking of Marjorie Taylor Greene or Marjorie Taylor Brown? When
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about the remaking of The Running Man, and I actually have a lot of thoughts on that.
No, I haven't paid any attention to that. I know I like that Glenn Powell. It moves when I watch him.
Yeah, no, I like him too. Although I didn't like his show for Hulu, I thought that was pretty shitty.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that.
But no, I like Glenn Powell too, and I love the original Running Man. What do I think of the remake of Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't know. I'm not that fucking dumb. Like,
I love it.
I
I
mean,
fell
let's.
for it.
Am I supposed to believe that the Jewish space lasers lady is now like, a smart person who's not crazy? Um, the thing about the expression crazier than a shithouse rat is that there isn't a second expression that, hey, I'm hanging out with the shithouse rat now. Like, if the shithouse rat was crazy enough to hang around the shithouse, then they're probably not going to rehab that image anytime soon, unless they go on CNN where that kind of thing happens. Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a pig. I mean, she has tormented people. She has tormented trans kids. She's tormented her colleagues. She's tormented school shootings, a lot of innocent people. And just so she could stand on their backs and make something of herself in the shit arena that is Trump land. So, if she's coming to her senses, great. Maybe she won't fucking burn in hell, but that's not really my concern. If she wants to vote for Democrats, great. If she wants to contribute money to the Democrats, great. But if she wants to be in on a policy meeting, sorry, fucking doors closed. She can go do a policy meeting at Four Seasons Landscaping or something.
So that's how you feel about her then.
Yeah, I'm jury's still out.
So a larger issue is the fracturing of MAGA, and it's been observed by all the people who I respect and like. I just saw. I'm trying to look for it, so I'm looking down on my phone. The historian, NYU historian, authoritarian expert Ruth Ben-Ghiat sharing.
Oh, did you freeze on me?
What?
Oh, you froze on me for a second.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Ruth Ben-Ghiat quoting Ahmed Baba about the fracturing of MAGA, and that's what they're seeing. So I wonder how you would describe what we're seeing right now. And I say it's, I call it the hoods off movement led by Nick Fuentes. Hoods off. They're going full hoods off, full white Christian nationalists. You're either with me or against me. And today, one of the board members of Heritage resigned, which is a pretty big deal. MAGA is fracturing between America First, whatever you want to call it, and I don't know what the other side is. But how do you see it unfolding right now?
I mean, I think the hoods came off in Charlottesville, and that was almost a decade ago. What I have learned watching Trump is for every MAGA asshole who says, this is it, I've had enough, I'm stepping off, there are 5 MAGA assholes ready to take their place. I'm never going to forget a clearly drunken Lindsey Graham, red-faced on the Senate floor the night of January 6th saying, I'm done with all this. Guess who Lindsey played golf with this past weekend?
I do it. I do a pretty good impression. I do a pretty good impression. That hold on. That is it. I'm finished. Okay, I'm out of here. That is enough for me. I'm going to go have myself a ham and bacon honey sandwich. This is enough.
That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, and just like Lindsay, you came right back. And
exactly.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, we've seen this song and dance before, where it gets a little ugly, it gets a little weird, it gets a little dumb, and they're like, okay, this is it, I'm out. And then one bad poll later, or a few mean tweets, a few death threats, and they're right back. I don't know that Marjorie's going to have a path back. I don't really know what her path is. I don't think there's a Liz Cheney for her. I also really don't give a shit. Like my path for her would be to take a long walk off a short pier. I really
Oh
don't
wow.
care what happens to her or how she's involved at all. I just, if these unserious people who always saw politics as like reality television instead of like affecting real people's lives, if they're starting to get the memo, great. But I have a long memory, and I hope other people do too.
You know, she said yesterday we need to lower the rhetoric. And apparently, you're not listening. Your long walk off a short pier. That's the kind of divisive rhetoric that I think is putting a target on her map. That and the president of the United States also literally putting a target on her map, putting a target on the back also of some Indiana senators who don't want to cheat and redistrict. So he's going after them and they're being doxxed every day. Every day, we should mention,
Yeah.
or someone should have a clearinghouse of who got targeted by the president of the United States today. Who got targeted today by the leader of the free world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually glad it's Marge. I hated it when it was a judge or some judge's daughter or some random people in
Yeah,
America. Marge at least signed up for this shit. But no, I know she wants to tone down the rhetoric, which was why she told Dana Bash yesterday to have Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes on the show. So yeah, I got a short peer for Marge right here.
that's right. Yeah, she is encouraging. Did you watch? Do you paying any attention to that guy, Nick Fuentes? I watched the whole interview with him and Tucker Carlson.
I did not. I was going to, but I was busy cooking and eating my own ass cheek. That just sounded like more fun than watching the two of them.
I was
I
going to
mean,
volunteer. I was going to volunteer at a soup kitchen, but I was like, nah, I think I'll just stay home and watch Nick Fuentes talk to Tucker Carlson and smoke
I
pot.
mean, the thing is, every time I see these guys, or from Nick Shapiro, it's not even, or yeah, is that his name? Ben
And
Shapiro. It's Nick Shapiro worked for Obama. Sorry about that, buddy. Every time I see Ben Shapiro, or actually every time I hear Ben Shapiro, I'm just like, other people can hear this too, right? And every time I see Nick Fuentes, I'm like, are y'all looking at the same dude I am? Like this little gremlin that looks like he crawled out of a Nazi's ass? Like, I don't understand. Are we so fucking desperate for leadership in this country that people are like picking up shit encrusted troll dolls and like, hey, I'll follow you wherever you want me to go? I mean, it makes me really
would,
sad.
would you tolerate one observation I have about him? I know you don't want to talk about him anymore.
Sure.
I think his appeal to a certain extent is he doesn't seem to be incentivized by what everybody else is incentivized by quite the same, from Steve Bannon to Tucker Carlson. They certainly want to be famous and popular with huge followings and most importantly make a lot of money. I think they're all ideological, no doubt about it. But the thing about Fuentes is the dude like has a history of going after and blazing fashion other pundits and politicians and the Jews, and he gets deplatformed, and he doesn't seem to care that he has made all these enemies in his own lane, and somehow that's working to create a following because he's not motivated seemingly as much by those things. These guys are all scared to go after each other, to turn and fire on one another, or to be deplatformed by saying what they really feel. And him going after Mark Levin, I was satisfied. I have to admit, he's a fat pussy, and I was like, I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. More, please.
Yeah. I mean, if he was a nihilist, just fucking people up, I could respect that. But he's also a Nazi, and fuck Nazis.
It's not respect. I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm observing the quality,
Yeah.
what he's doing, and why he's gaining a following.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. He's a more authentic anti-establishment character than Bannon and those guys who are just a different kind of establishment. But you talk about Bannon. Bannon's not a true believer for anything except Trump. Like Bannon, Bannon was Goldman Sachs. Bannon was Hollywood. Bannon was everything he claims to hate. He just sucked at it. So no, I mean, look, my big theory about the American public since Trump came on the scene is that we were just desperate for authenticity. After years and years of poll tested, press release bullshit language, people were so fucking desperate for authenticity, they were willing to accept Trump as an alternative just because, his rudeness sounded like honesty. His, his threats, his attacks, that sounded like authenticity. Now he's obviously full of shit on everything, but it sounded real. Nick Fuentes might be saying the most horrible fucking shit on the planet, and he probably is. I can honestly say I've never listened to the guy. But to a lot of people, I'm sure that sounds like something real and authentic that runs counter to the more, I don't know, message tested shit they're used to hearing, which is a real cause for alarm. I'd say for all of us, if we're just that, if we're that susceptible to Nazi policies and Nazi rhetoric, because we're that desperate for authenticity, then we've got some big damn problems. I'd say.
Just a quote again that I meant to have up earlier. Ahmed Baba said this. Want your take? I've documented every day of Trump's first term and covered Project 2025 since 2023. The threat of Trump's authoritarianism has been the focal point of my journalism for a decade. So I'm not spreading false hope when I say Trump is weakening and MAGA is fracturing. It is clear. What are your thoughts on that assertion?
I hope that's true. I feel like I've heard it before. But I also don't want to be the asshole who pisses on the parade. Like, I mean, we've always known it was going to end some way. I just don't know how. And I also don't know, I guess like for me, it's always okay, what's the breaking point and is it sustainable? Because I feel like, MAGA gets really upset. They're very emotional. They are very quick to burn their clothes if it's, for like Nike or a red hat or whatever. But they're also very easily brought back into the fold because the one common denominator most of them have is that they're easily frightened by people with brown and black skin. And Donald Trump is a master of scaring people that way. So I'm glad that these fucking idiots are burning their red hats, but I imagine they'll put them back on the second Fox starts talking about caravans. I just wonder if they'll put out the fire before they do.
Yes, I do too. All right. Final question, two questions, I guess. I haven't talked to you since
This is
the
fun.
huh?
This is fun.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a good time. I
Yeah, man.
get very excited like a child when I get to talk to you. It's
Dude, you're the best. I enjoy the hell out of this.
Sam Youngman Day, and I would do it most days of my life. I really enjoy it, and everybody watching does too, for sure, and listening.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
And check out
I
Sam,
hope the
the
chat
Alt
has a
Media,
couple
and
minutes
Adam.
left.
They're so good. I just watched right before I came here their talk. Their great work every day. Subscribe to their amazing newsletter, which is the best in the biz. So, Mom Donnie wins in New York, and the other question is the future of the Democratic Party. And it's interesting because on the right, they're having a fracture and they're either going hoods off or, hoods on, but, the eye holes. And on the left or on Earth One, the rest of us are arguing about things like free public transportation or universal pre-K and obviously affordability, serious questions about the cost of care, et cetera. But we're the extremists. What do you make of Mamdani and what he represents and how other Democrats around the country that are from different districts and states should be responding and talking about it?
Um, I'm a big fan. I didn't know anything about him. We stayed out of the primary. And then I watched that man campaign. And he did something that was unlike what I've seen most politicians do for the last several years. He ran like he actually liked the people and the place that he was running to represent. He ran like he wanted to make it better for the people who live there. He didn't try to scare the shit out of everybody. He didn't promise a bunch of shit he couldn't deliver. He said, hey, here's a bunch of shit that's broken, and here's how I think we can fix it because I love this city and I want people to be able to live here who aren't billionaires. And it was just like, holy fucking shit. How hard is that?
Yeah.
We saw it in Seattle. Katie Wilson just narrowly won a race over the incumbent mayor there. Trump's already freaking out and threatening to move the World Cup games away from Seattle. Um, Despite what the New York Times editorial page is telling you, Americans are hurting and they're looking for people who can provide real solutions. We tried the fake solutions with Trump. We're going to pie in the sky. I'm going to fix everything on day one. People I think have learned, okay, that's horseshit. So now they're listening for people who are not only promising change but also laying out how they're going to do it. Despite the attacks on Mamdani's proposals, I always thought they were fairly well detailed, fairly well thought out, more than we usually hear from presidential candidates. And this is for a mayor of a city. So yeah, no, I'm a big fan, but I'm also just I'm more than a little dismayed by what I saw in the Democratic Party. It's almost like we have an allergy to winning. We spent the first several months of the year saying we've got to win young men and we got to find a way to get people excited. And then Mom Donnie comes around and it's like, maybe not like that. It's like they have a version in their head of what's an acceptable way to do that. Which is just outrageous to me. My first rule for politics is fucking listen to what the voters are telling you. And that's what a lot of Democrats told me after last November. Like, oh, we got to listen more. We got to listen more. Well, Mom Donnie did listen. Katie Wilson did listen, and they responded and they won. Uh, Now I wonder who's not listening, and I will start with the people, the Democrats who were on their high horse too high to support Mom Donnie.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Fully agree. But I also have always been a supporter of these types of ideas and policies. And the reason is because I've been to Norway. And then I read every year the happiest country in the world is Denmark. And then I read every day that they live longer and they're happier.
Yeah.
And I know Canadians. And so none of this shit is in any way make me uncomfortable. Like, I want it. Bring on all those policies. Give me a nap during the day while you're at it. Paid nap.
Is Denmark still the happiest country in the world since we started fucking with them so much?
Yeah, it's only made them happier because it only makes them feel better than us. Yeah, everybody feels better than us. We're the worst.
They were already happy, and then they realized they don't have Trump as president, and they just got like 10% happier.
Honestly.
Pretty good.
Well, what do you think of the wisdom that Democrats, when they campaign, their brand is so bad, they have to be more than just anti-Trump. They have to be for something. They have to give people something. But the kind of, I guess, the data that's come out of this last election was, no, being anti-Trump is actually good enough. And I would make a point based on data. Apparently, he's lost all the ground he gained on Hispanic males, or maybe Hispanic voters in general, because he gained. It was always shocking that a lot of Latino Americans, however they self-describe, voted for him. He's lost it all. And maybe if you just let Trump be Trump, he'll take a shit everywhere that you care about or thought he was going to make a difference in, including grocery prices, and he's going to do it himself. So maybe it's just good enough to be like, I'm not him. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know why it has to be an either or. Like, you can be for affordability and against fascism, and that's a pretty fucking compelling message to me. But not only that, when you tell the American people that they're being distracted when they're telling you they care about something, it's pretty goddamn insulting. People know what they care about. They don't need a think tank in DC to tell them what they actually care about. They care about high prices. They care that the president tore up the fucking White House, and they care that he might be a child rapist. I don't know why it's so damn difficult for us to talk about all of these things. This idea that we have to pick our battles, or that you know, every time I see an Ezra Klein type being taken seriously by elected Democrats, I just see us losing another election. I don't know that it's about being anti-Trump. I don't know that it's about being more than anti-Trump. What I know is this: candidates matter, and people have to believe that the candidate believes what they're saying. My number one rule for any fucking Democrat running for office right now is don't be a pussy. Seriously, it's that simple. Stand for something, keep standing for something. And when people come at you telling you to change your opinion, say, no, this is what I stand for. People respect that shit. They don't respect people that are running to their consultants every 10 minutes saying, what am I supposed to believe? It's just, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, Trump is the scum of the earth. But the thing he is authentic about is being racist, being anti-immigrant. He doesn't fake that shit. It's real. And, much to our chagrin as a nation, people are, respected that. This whole discussion we've had for the last year about whether or not Democrats need to throw trans people under the bus to win elections. My God, are we just evil? Like, are we just going down a list of people being like, okay, these people are expendable, these people are expendable, these people are expendable? How about listen to Andy fucking Bashir, who said we don't have to throw anybody under the bus, right? I just, this idea, like, if we just hide who we are a little more, or if we just lie about this a little more, if we just don't care about these people over here a little more, then we can win. What are we winning? If we do all that shit, what have we won? I don't want to be like Trump. I don't want to be like the people who fucking support him. I want to stand for something as a country, as a party, and I'll vote for the person who does too.
Very well said. Do you think trans people are human?
More than Marjorie Taylor Greene is.
I was
Of
wondering how
course,
you'd handle that.
man. Of course, fucking trans people are human. They're our friends, our neighbors. They're just
They're the easiest people to dehumanize
that's
ever
it. I
because you don't know any. You likely
because there's
like
fucking 19 of them in the whole in the whole country.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it will never stop being infuriating to me that Republicans attempted a coup, a violent coup that
yeah,
resulted in 140 cops being injured. And this one racist asshole comes along and says, you know what the real problem is, are drag queens and critical
yeah.
race theory. And the New York Times is like, you know what? You're onto something. Let's focus on that instead. It's idiotic. Idiotic. No,
I would
I swear to God, I don't give a shit if I'm the last person in the Democratic Party standing for trans people, but that's where I'm going to be.
I forgot to make a point when I was talking to someone recently about the trans issue, and person's like, "What do you think about trans? Girls playing sports?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think we should have a conversation about that." And I'm not really so comfortable with it myself. And then I go, but I forgot to say, wait a second, this is the dumbest thing. I can't believe I'm talking about this. Like, whatever I think about it doesn't even matter, by the way, because it's like a thing that isn't really happening very much ever.
Yeah.
And I also, now my new joke is, I wish it were more acceptable when I was younger, because I would have maybe got some playing time, or I still would have sat the bench if I transitioned as a girl, because I just wasn't that good. That's the problem. And it's such a distraction. It's so not an issue
Mm.
that we shouldn't even be discussing it. And where it comes up, fine. But the fact that they elevated it to make us care more about that than the fact that they're protecting pedophiles. Like, if you care more about trans anything
Yeah.
than the protection of pedophiles, you are the worst fucking person. You're the worst person, because that's what they're doing. And the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. And what's worse, sexually assaulting a child, or knowing someone did and then moving them to a different parish, or protecting them in any way? I don't know. I can make an argument that knowing someone who did that and covering for them is worse. It's
I
almost
completely,
worse.
yeah, no, I completely fucking agree. While you were talking about sports, the thing to remember is most states, they have policies about this stuff. Like the
Like,
idea that it's just the Wild West. It's fun. I don't know what made me think of this, but do you remember the movie Ladybugs? It was Rodney Dangerfield, and
yeah, yeah.
to impress his girlfriend, he started coaching a women's soccer team and a young girls soccer team, and they weren't very good, so he got his would be stepson to play. And you can tell that movie's dated because in the end they just all love each other and they're all friends. And there wasn't like an army of Karens standing out in the parking lot with like, torches and pitchforks calling for this kid to be murdered and for Rodney Dangerfield's head to be put on a pike. It's like,
Yeah.
we used to be nicer people. I don't know, man. I feel like trans kids have it hard. They're already
Worse.
singled out. They're already treated like
It's the
shit.
worst.
The idea that we're going to take away the outlets from them, or I don't know. I'd rather be the kind of people who are, looking out for them, protecting them, and telling them, hey, it's all right to be whoever the fuck you want to be. In fact, the world is better when you are.
Well said. So well said. I mean, the idea that they are in any way a danger to others versus a danger to themselves because of what they may likely be going through, because that is a tough place to be if you in fact have body dysmorphia like that. That is really rough. All right, final question, real quick. Epstein files, how does this end? I say the House overwhelmingly votes for it. I say the Senate, let's say they do vote for it. They got to vote for it. They're going to be too pressured, I think, too. Maybe they don't. Maybe it doesn't ever come up. But then it gets to Trump's desk. He signs it. Out come the Epstein files, all scrubbed
Mm,
by his Department of Justice. So he takes out any reference to him,
hmm
and then it's over.
Yeah, no, I've always been leaning towards that something too. It'll be, I mean, we're not, he's going to protect the truth, he's going to conceal the truth as much as he can.
How many
I
people
don't
would
know. I,
know?
I mean, I guess we won't. It's like the jobs report, right? Like, I mean, we just kind of like we've got other indicators to give us a sense, but I don't know that we're ever really going to know. Except we already do, don't we? I mean, we know. I mean, we know. Um, yeah,
They're
I don't know. Maybe it's a big reveal that Epstein's still alive and like he and Elvis are like hanging out in some like Brazilian jungle or something. It's I'm sorry to the Elvis fans out there. I didn't mean to impugn the king. No, man, I don't know how it ends. Tell you
well,
the
the
truth, I was always skeptical that it was much of a story. I was like a lot of people in that I was willing to believe the official explanation. I've been around Washington and politics long enough that I mostly dismiss out of hand conspiracy theories because I know they require competence and discretion to complete them. And competence and discretion aren't usually things you find in the government. So I just usually believe, Epstein kill himself. Sure, why not? He had a lot of charges hanging over him. He was, his life was shitty and embarrassing, and I don't really believe that anymore. It's Bill Barr was head of the Bureau of Prisons. Bill Barr, who the New York Times referred to as General Cover Up. We watched Barr cover up the Mueller report. We watched
Yep.
Barr go to work to protect this guy. Alex Acosta becoming a cabinet secretary after getting Epstein his sweetheart deal. At a certain point, it's more than coincidence, right? Like you'd be foolish to believe that it is. I don't know how it ends, but I hope it's ugly as shit for everybody involved. I hope every one of them just goes through the most miserable public humiliation and pain imaginable, because it's only a fraction of what they did to those poor girls.
So well said. Very well said. Appreciate everything that you're doing and that you did by joining me here. Everybody loves it. The comments are so positive.
Oh, nice.
Love that, Sam Youngman.
How do I read the comments?
You're not
You
allowed.
like cut and paste them?
You're not allowed. You can't see them if you're a guest.
Hmm.
If you click on comments on the top of the box on the.
Oh, there they are. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
hope
really
everybody
cool.
just starts. Everybody, now that you can see them, everybody should just start writing horrible shit.
Yo,
Oh
that way
wait,
I'll
I'm
know
reading.
that way I'll know it's a comment section.
Says I think Sam is the king of cucks. Huh. Next user. Sam looks.
I mean,
Sam
at
looks
least I'm
like
the
a.
king of cucks, right? Like, it's not like I'm like the jester of cucks. That would be embarrassing.
Next user. I hate Sam 547. Isn't Sam more likely to get work in a field scaring away crows? That is fucked up. Come on. He doesn't look like. Come on. These people are being.
Oh man, don't forget it was the scarecrow who Dorothy missed the most.
I love that I don't have enough live viewers to have actual people do the bit that I had to come up with those.
That's what I've got friends for, man.
All right, buddy. You've got friends everywhere. Thank you for joining me.
Pete, you're the best, pal. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for watching live. I'll be back at 4:30 East with Glenn Kirshner. Okay. Bye, everyone.